ended well, and this year has started better. And to contribute to ensuring that you have a much better year than previous years, on the GX show today, we're going to take a look at starting the year strong and just basically giving you a blueprint as to how you can make the best of 2025. My name is Onyinechi Ekumankama, and I'm super excited to be your host, of course, as usual. Without further ado, I'm going to get into the conversation very quickly so that we can cover as much ground as possible with the few minutes that we have. And my guest this morning is no stranger to the show. He's been here a couple of times, including with his family. And today I'm inviting him to speak to the topic of planning purposefully, not just planning, but planning purposefully. He's a life coach, he's a project manager, and a credit analyst. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the GX show a brother of mine, Joshua Adeloye. Hello, Joshua. How are you doing today?
Hello, Ichi. How are you doing? Good morning.
Good
Happy New
morning.
Year.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Happy New Year to you. How is your family doing? How has the year started up for you all?
Excellent. When you enter the year, all planned out, so you already have everything in front of you. So
fantastic.
Yeah,
you entered the year all planned out. I feel like someone is listening and is like, oh my goodness. Does this person have two heads? They have the year all planned out, but I don't. And so that's why you're here, to help us have that conversation, because you are someone who is gifted at this thing called planning purposefully. And so I decided it would be great to have you on. Thank you very much for accepting this invitation. Now, my first question.
You're welcome.
My first question. Is it too late to plan for the year? Because, what's today? Today is the 4th of January. 4 days already. We're already into the year in 4 days. So is it too late to still plan for this same 2025 that we're inside?
It's more ideal to have had your plans done in 2024. But hey, so here's the advantage of planning in January 2025. Your new resolution has most likely already failed. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So you are out of the dream phase of your year.
Okay.
So usually in the first week, most new resolutions are done, right? And now you can actually plan your life, plan your year. So it's not too late. January is not too late to plan at all.
Okay, so the dream phase, like you said, is gone. So it's like reality. You're woken up now, and you're like, okay, let's do this. Awesome. That's encouraging. That's encouraging. Speaking about planning, there are a couple of mistakes that a couple of people make when planning. At the end of the year, you find people, some a bit remorseful, some sober, some with some feeling of regret because the year didn't go as planned. Is this a thing that just happens, or could it be as a result of errors made when planning? If yes, what are some of these errors that you have found that people tend to make when they're planning for their lives, basically?
I've been helping people with planning their year, their lives for maybe 5 to 7 years now. I've seen a lot. But the most critical mistakes I find that people make is, number one, they have too many goals for the year. Right? So goals that should have been spread across 5 years, they try to do it in 1 year.
Too many goals.
And if your goals are too many, you would most likely, too many goals. The fewer, the better.
Okay. So you can't be over-ambitious.
That's a major one I've seen. No, it doesn't make sense to be over-ambitious.
Okay.
You should just focus on the most critical goals, for that year, and focus. You shouldn't have more than 20. So 20 is a lot, right? I usually advise 10, but don't have more than 20. That's one mistake I see people make. Another one, another critical one would be they don't plan the financial demands of their goals. So they write out, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to take this course, I want to travel, I want to go to the gym. They do all those things, but you don't attach how much that's going to cost you. And then look at your income, whether your income can actually carry the price of your goals. So that's another critical mistake I see people make.
So if your income cannot carry the
If
price...
Should I mention one more?
Yes, please. But after this, so if your income cannot carry the price of your goals, does that mean your first goal should be to find a better way of making better income to start with?
Exactly. Okay. So you need to have a financial goal that can actually make you the money to carry out all your other goals.
Very interesting.
So I mean, how are you going to afford those things?
Okay. Thank you very much. You wanted to share one more mistake, please.
One more would be they don't plan. They plan from today for tomorrow instead of planning tomorrow. So let me explain what I mean.
Please do.
You don't plan for your next 5 years from today. Okay. You plan today from your next 5 years. So you first of all have to outline what's your goal in 5 years before now planning what 2025's goals are in line with that 5 years. You don't.
Oh no. Network. My guest is frozen. Oh my goodness. All right. So we'll try and this is a very interesting point that he was making, and I'd love for him to expatiate more on it in just a moment when I'm able to restore connection with my guest. When I'm able to restore connection with my guest, give me a moment, please. Let me just ensure that we're able to get my guest back successfully. One moment, please. It's 99.3 Nigeria Info. I was discussing starting the year strong with Joshua Adeloye. All right, Joshua, do we have you back now? Apologies, Joshua. There was a break in transmission there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Thank you so much. So you were making a very solid point. I don't want my guests to miss it. Or my listeners, rather, to miss it. Please go ahead.
Okay. So I said, the last mistake I see people make, I mean, one of the last, I can give you 7 mistakes, right? Well, the last one I'll just mention is they plan for tomorrow today instead of planning today from tomorrow. So what that means is you should really, have a 5-year goal and then plan 2025 in line with your 5-year goal. So 5-year goal first before 2025, not planning 2025, 2026. You don't plan year in year. No, you plan 5 years first or 10 years first, and then come to today, to this year, and plan in line with your 5 years. So it's a critical mistake people make. And if you look at it on a 5-year or 10-year span, you don't overburden your year with goals, because now you know that, okay, I have 5 years to do this. This is what I'll start this year and what I'll do, next year in line with where I want to be in 5 or 10 years. Yeah.
Okay. Forgive me, please. I'd like to dwell on this point a bit because I think that it can come off a bit confusing at first hear or at first glance. So can we work with a practical example? So let's say I want to plan for the next 5 years. So between 2025 and 2030, right? So am I planning backwards from 2030 till now, or how? Yeah.
So the first thing to do is, in 2030, who do you want to be? Who is Onyinechi in 2030? What's she financially, education, in her personal development, in her networks? So I usually plan in 10 buckets, right?
Okay.
So based on those 10 buckets, family wise, what does 2030 look like for you? What do you want to be in 2030, right?
Okay.
When that is clear, you can now walk backwards and say, okay, what do I need to do in 2025 to ensure that I get to what I've written down as my goal in 2030?
Okay.
So, for example, if you say, okay, you want to, by 2030, you want to have savings of, $100,000, income of $100,000, and investments of $100,000, right? So 2025 has to be, okay, how do I make at least $25K dollars? How do I ensure, from now, so that by 2030 I have gotten to 100K?
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. That breaks it down
Yeah.
and it makes it sound easier. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the GX Show 99.3 Nigeria Info. My name is Onyinechi Ekumankama, and my guest this morning is Joshua Adeloye, a life coach, project manager, and credit analyst. We're discussing starting the year strong, particularly in the area of purposeful planning. We are streaming live on YouTube if you want to join the conversation on there, Nigeria Info FM on YouTube. And I'm going to open the phone lines in a moment, in fact, from now, for anyone who is listening and needs clarity regarding the topic of discussion this morning. So if you have a question you'd like to ask my guest regarding planning, maybe you've reached a hiccup in your own stage of planning and you need some clarity. As much as my guest can share, he will share. I also know that he does this for a living, so you're welcome, you guys. I'm bringing someone to do this for you free of charge. So, I mean, we'll also find out ways that you can contact him beyond now to see how he can also help you out, with that beyond the show. So if you'd like to call, the number is 0201-277-0993 for the men, 0201-277-0993, and for the women, yours is 0201-465-7190. That's 0201-465-7190. Your WhatsApp message can come to 0809-597-5805. And of course, X at Nigeria Info FM, YouTube at Nigeria Info FM, Skype the same for those who are not in the country but would like to put a call through. Now, Joshua, thank you so much for the responses you've given so far. And so my next question would be, you've talked about the mistakes, and in responding, speaking to the mistakes rather, you also shared how, to overcome them, what to do instead. I'd love to, see if we could have some practical sessions, a very brief practical session on planning. You just gave us one in response to my previous question, asking for a bit more explanation on the points that you shared. But you mentioned something about 10 buckets. You don't have to share all 10 buckets, but could you explain the concept of segmenting one's goals? What does that do for a person and their goals?
Yeah. Which is another mistake, by the way. People, plan generically. They don't plan specifically, right?
Okay.
So when I started my planning journey, I realized that just having generic plans does not work. Everybody has different parts of their life that are important in becoming who they want to be. Okay.
Yes.
So I had to split my life into 10 key buckets and then write a goal or maximum of 2 goals per bucket. So, I have a template that I created that helps with this. Maybe at the end, because we can't talk about that. But for example, let me give you 5 buckets. All right. So education and personal development is 1 bucket.
Education.
So based on your education and personal development, what's your goal for the year?
Okay.
So that's 1 bucket. 2 is finance, right? So what's your financial goal for the year, right? And remember, you need to all the other goals, monetize them, right? So that okay, this is how much I need to make this year, or else I'm actually joking, right? So, so it's that's a bit critical. Now,
awesome, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, it's better. Okay.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
You're welcome. So finance, your finance goal. So what's your critical finance goal for the year, right? Savings targets, income targets, investment targets. Those are basically what you have in your finance goals, right? Okay, then family, right? What's your key family goal for the year, right? So for a lot of people this year is to get married, right? That just would get married. That's enough.
That's enough. Okay,
that's enough.
So family could be your family goal could be starting a family.
That's enough.
It's not only for people who are married or have children. You could be a single person and still have family goals. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
Awesome. Okay.
So if you're married, then you have maybe you want to go on a family holiday, with your family that year. So that's where it comes into play, right? 2 more buckets. I promised 5, right?
Yes. Please.
Networking. Now, who are the people you want to add to your network, this year? All right. Because your network, determines your net worth, right? So these are things that you need to be deliberate about. Okay, I want to meet this person, or I want to, attend their seminar, whatever, to ensure that you build your network base for the year. So that's 4, right?
Okay.
5, spiritual goals, right? How do you want to, connect deeper with your God this year, right? Because, it helps a lot in living a purposeful life, because you're now living for more than just money or accolades, or there's a deeper sense in connection to your maker, right? How do you want to go deeper with God this year? So that's also a goal bucket. So those are 5 buckets.
Thank you for being so generous and for sharing 5 out of the 10. Thank you so much. We don't take that for granted. So I know that in setting goals, it's important to be able to measure, your progress with the goals that you've made. I mean, typically, we do that unconsciously or consciously at the end of the year, which I think is even something that's, should happen more regularly. So that's another mistake, Abby.
Yeah.
I see. So how often should one review? How often should one review their goals, or is it relative?
Okay, so the first thing you need to do when you finish planning your year is to get an accountability partner.
Okay.
So that's someone you share your goals with and keeps you accountable. So when you review your goals alone, you can deceive yourself. Or I'll just procrastinate it. But if you're reviewing with someone and the person is asking you, why didn't you do what you said you would do, then you are more accountable. Right? Now, when you have that accountability partner, you should review quarterly. So Q1, these were the things I wanted to have done. Have I done them? Yes or no? Okay. Q2, Q3, Q4. For those who are very nitty-gritty, you can do monthly. Okay. But it shouldn't be more than quarterly.
Okay.
I mean, it should be more than quarterly. So if you say, okay, I want to do half year, you've lost track. Things change every quarter. I mean, last year, you saw how things change from Q1 to Q2.
Absolutely.
So you have to go and check your budget again to know whether your budget for the year still works. Right. So
that's another thing. Budget. Can you? Yeah. Is it realistic to budget for a whole year? With the times that we're living in, tomorrow now you wake up and things have really changed.
Interestingly, before last year, I used to be able to budget for at least 6 months. But last year showed me that, I was changing my budget every 2 weeks.
Wow.
Every 2 weeks. Wow. So, depending on the reality of your nation, you would have to just keep on updating it, right? But what I've realized is there are people who earn more than inflation.
Earn more than inflation.
So your goal should be to get your earnings to be inflation
proof, maybe.
Inflation can't touch it anymore. So your budget will work. Exactly. So your budget will work. It doesn't matter how high the prices want to go. You know that you are above that. So not everyone in Nigeria is complaining now.
Right. Even though it seems like it, but if anything, this December showed it. That's you are complaining. Not everybody is complaining, because I know that in December people were complaining as to how
not everyone is complaining.
I thought there was no money. What's all this? Why is everybody outside? Why are all the hotels booked? All the 5-star or 7-star, hundreds of thousands per night hotels, no availability. Everything gone.
So you're wondering, what happened?
Yeah, that's really a lesson, man. Not everyone is complaining. So you to try and find legitimate ways, of course, to make your own income inflation proof. I think that's something we should all walk away with. All right, I see we have less than 5 minutes on the clock to go. So by way of conclusion, I'd love to ask if you have anything to share that I may not have touched on regarding the topic, any gem that any hidden gem that you'd like to just share with my listener this morning before we round off.
A hidden gem. You have just one life. And this is not even, this is just a practical gem, right? So you need to ensure that you maximize every day, right? You never look back with regrets, and one of the major ways to do so is to plan your life, right? And just a tip, okay? For those who are people of faith, pray before planning. Get some insights into the year that no man can give you, so that you have an advantage. And also check research. So there's different people who are releasing forecasts for the year. Top financial institutions and things like. I watched the video yesterday by Dr. Ola Brown giving her predictions financially for the year. So look at research, right? It helps you kind of have an understanding of what the world is, what world leaders are thinking of doing this year, what Nigeria is thinking of doing this year, and know how to align yourself to those goals. So, spiritual insights, research insights, those two things, help you maximize your year, I'll just add that one.
Thank you so much. Those are very helpful tips. Very helpful tips. Very great bonus. I mean, if you were to walk away with one thing, that would be a great one thing for my listener to walk away with. Thank you so much, Joshua Adeloye. I've been speaking with Joshua Adeloye on planning purposefully. And like I mentioned, this is something that he does even professionally. And while I'm not able to properly advertise your business, because that's a whole different ball game, but do you have personal social media that people could reach out to you on to further conversations along these lines and just see the things that you do? Because I mean, he's somebody to follow and look out for. I know what I'm saying, so please share.
I try. So you can find me on LinkedIn. Instagram is the fastest way at Joshua Adeloye. So the A that ends the Joshua starts the Adeloye. So that's Joshua Adeloye is my Instagram handle. You can just type Joshua Adeloye on LinkedIn to get my LinkedIn as well. I have a YouTube channel where I have done a few videos on how to plan using the templates. You can get the templates also on my Instagram main stack. And just go to YouTube to watch how to use them. And just keep in touch. There's many things that will be coming up this year to just help everyone, because I just want to see everyone's life live a very fulfilled life, right? I don't want anyone to be old and regret the kind of life they lived.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thank you for mentioning that template. So if you're looking to simplify planning, there's a template available, on his social media. So you can reach out, and there's also a guide as to how to use it and maximize it properly. Thank you once again, Joshua. Let me let you get back to the rest of your weekend. Please, my regards to your wife, my sister, and our darling Are.
Thank you so much.
And the entire family. Thank you so much. God bless you. Absolutely.
You will get.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, do with what you should with what you have learned this morning. Thank you for listening to the show. Up next is Emmanuel Onwuka with Travel and Culture. My name is Onyinechi Ekumankama, and I will be back soon. Stay tuned.
99.3 Nigeria Info. We are more than just radio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Nigeria Info FM. Check us out on Facebook at Nigeria Info 99.3. Follow us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM and on Instagram at Nigeria Info FM Lagos for live updates as it happens. 99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.